Sorry, y'all. I kind of got jamming to the music and forgot to switch over. I was enjoying the music and kind of. I realized I was just sitting there jamming to the music and not recording a podcast. What's up? I mean, happy. What is it? 5th of July, almost the 4th of July. Yeah. How are you doing, Prosciutto? And Evil, who is getting other things, and he will not be on camera. If he does decide to let us hear his beautiful baritone voice, he will not be on camera because he is too sexy for us to understand. And
we couldn't possibly handle.
Yeah. I don't. He was worried we would get copyright struck or terms of service struck by YouTube.
Or copyright struck by God.
Oh yes, because yes.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm
still, keep it going.
I'm still recovering from the toenail incident of the 4th.
Do you want to tell the people about your toenail? I mean, it's up to you.
Would you care for me too?
Oh yeah, it's a great story.
I'm more than happy to.
I actually was thinking about it earlier today.
Yeah. Hung out with my family for the 4th of July. That's me, my mom, her fiance, and his son, my grandparents, my uncle, aunt, and their 3 kids, and my sister and her 2 friends were there too. So lots of people. We were in the pool playing volleyball, which was a load of fun. And then I was having a great time, having a wonderful time. And I do have to preface this by saying this is the dumbest reason ever that I think I've gotten actually my feelings hurt. My emotional stability is trod upon, especially when you consider that I am today in the best position I feel I have ever been in my life with many things. I'm on the up. However, what was it? There was a float in the pool, and I was laying in the float, and I had my feet above the water, and I've played soccer since I was 4 years old with super tight cleats, right? Just constantly. Beautiful cigar, beautiful. But my toe was up, and it's got I have a toenail that's shaped like a lowercase r. It is fucked up, right? Both of them are because I've had to have both of them removed, basically because too much time playing soccer with the cleats. Yeah. But one was up, and someone made a joke. We were joking with each other, we were giving each other a hard time. But and the joke was fine. I was cool with it, right? Something about the Dragon's Claw. But then every joke after that was all about my toe. And it's it started fine. It's yes, this is fine. We're having fun. But then it dragged on long enough that I had to be all right, it's starting to be a bit much now. All right, I think, 10 minutes into it, okay, I think I'm ready to be done with it. Every single joke is, oh, but Hunter's toe. Cool, thanks, appreciate that. and then the minute that tiny lamentation snuck in, immediately all of the other lamentations start to be considered, and what was a good high is now, But yeah. I'm recovering. I had a good night's sleep, so we're good today. We're good
Very
today.
Good. You started questioning everything. You're like,
I did. Dude,
is it all because of my toes?
I went straight to school stuff, right? I teach the seniors, and we lost one of the senior advisors. No one bothered to ask me at all, would you like to take their spot as the senior, as one of the senior advisors? They went with this random new person who doesn't teach seniors.
Huh.
Okay, cool.
Have you thought about talking to them about? Be like, why?
No, I should.
You should.
Was it worth it? What else? Senior speeches we did at chapel. Mine went very well. I felt like the seniors and I had a great relationship. Yeah. However, the people that gave the senior speeches at graduation were Amelia, who is the senior advisor. She's the long-term. She's sort of in charge of that thing. Amanda, who is the one that was with her but left, so created the opening that thing got taken. And then Blake, the spiritual director. I was like, why Blake and not me, right? I think if you would ask the seniors in a poll, who do you want to be up there? It would have been Amelia, me, and Amanda.
Right.
For sure. And it's why was I not consulted about it? Did no one care to venture a question my way? I basically only taught seniors last year. And those are the insidious thoughts that creep into my mind as a result of my toenail being made fun of.
I can't remember what I was thinking about, but I like this little spot on my face. I was thinking, those are gonna get, and for some reason, I don't remember how, but I had you in my mind and us having a conversation, me being like, you don't know it yet, but give it about another 15 years, all of a sudden, magically, little spots, just like no reason, your skin will just be like, here's some extra melanin, and you're like, I don't know if I like this. And then I started thinking, and I can't remember how, but I was like, it's like the toe. But other parts start doing the toe. Other things start going, and there's no, you have to. I mean, I'm sure there's something I could probably get that would like bleach that out. Basically, there's like skin lightener that could lighten that up. But I mean, I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm 43. I'm not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those like, but for some reason, I imagined us having a conversation and me. Like, there was a reason for it. It wasn't just like out of nowhere. I was like, you know what? If I talk about this, I'll have to talk about it with placebo. It will obviously be with placebo, and then but it was something that led. Yeah, and here we are. I didn't even plan this, and it was great. It worked out perfect. What about you, Eva? What's your physical trait that you're embarrassed of?
The last time I was really like super embarrassed was, oh god, it's probably like the 6th grade. And I remember, I don't know why, but that particular day I brought my Game Boy to school.
Okay.
And it fell out of my pocket just like in the middle of class randomly.
Oh no.
Yeah, I reached down to pick it up and I ripped the biggest fart. I had no idea that I was holding. And everyone, and I mean everyone, just turns and looks at me. And you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty funny.
My first English class in high school in 9th grade, I had Mr. Taylor at Seminole High School, great teacher. But the girl behind me was, I think, a year older than me. And at one point, her backpack opened and out flew. Care to venture a guess? Preacher, I bet you can
probably like a tampon or something along those lines.
Condoms fell
yes.
out.
Something
Close
groin
enough, right?
related. Yeah.
Yeah. Condoms fell out as Mr. Taylor was walking past. And he, without thinking, because he's a nice guy, whatever, it didn't matter what fell. He was
going to pick it up and hand it. Oh, yeah.
And so he straight up picked up the condoms, handed them back to her. And she was the most embarrassed I think I've ever seen another person in my life. And Mr. Taylor even said, as he walked to the front, looking at her, the most embarrassing moment of your life, I am sure. And we moved on with class.
That's great. Oh, that is absolutely fantastic.
That was a pretty good one. I enjoyed that day.
Man, God, there's times where I think about stuff that I did in high school or middle school that I just like. There's times it's I know probably no one else even remembers it, but like in my brain.
Yeah.
And it's like, I remember one thing. So a lot of kids back in the day when we were playing football, right? So this is kind of a dirtier, and they would sometimes like, do that. And I remember I was in a history class, and I don't know why, but it was tickling so bad, so I just went, and then I just realized that, like, I put my head down so that it wasn't, like, really blatantly obvious or anything, but people could hear it, and it was like, I'm sure they're like, what is this guy doing? Like, blowing his nose behind me? Anyway, it was just one of those things where I think it was, like, looking back at that moment, I'm sure it was, like, really, like, I would never do it now, and it was gross and whatever, but it's like, no one cares. But in my brain, there's still like, I wish I could have changed that. I wish I could have went back and be like, either get a tissue out or leave or do something. Don't do that thing. And I wonder how many times the cheerleaders noticed me like across the room. Like I tried not to be obvious, but there's times where you just be like, and you would be just because like we had the skirts that were like they were like not even pleated, so you could see. Anyway, it was there's. I mean, as a high school boy, you're looking. I don't care
I
how holy you are, you're looking.
Genetic.
Yeah.
There are 4 girls at my high school, or the high school I teach at, that love them. They're great. But all they like to talk about is like bathroom humor. And you know how I am, preacher. I hate that. Right?
That's why I do it. But yeah.
I can't stand it. So at one point I was in the staff bathroom, literally just had to pee. Went in, peed, and then but I do a thing where like when I'm in the I don't like blowing my nose with a tissue. It doesn't feel quite right. I like blowing my nose in the sink. Okay, I'm weird. I do the Viking,
Yeah. Okay.
and but it sounds like,
Yeah.
right? So I'm in the staff bathroom doing that at lunchtime or something, right? And so I blow my nose in the sink, pull the paper towels down, wipe my hands afterwards, right? After I've washed them, throw it away, open the door, and of course there are those four girls thinking I just ripped ass like crazy, right? Like I was just dying on the toilet, and that I did not wash my hands after when I walked out because it was so immediately,
Yeah.
right? And then I tried, and this is the rough part in trying to explain that to them, they think I'm covering my ass. When
Yeah.
the truth is, no, it is like I say it is, but it looks like I'm backpedaling. And they're like, Mr. Johnson, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like,
Everybody.
I know it's okay, but it's not what happened.
Yeah. Like you don't understand.
If I was like having a medical emergency on the toilet, I would be okay with you knowing that. I would rather you did, but I suppose if you know it, fine, we move on. But that's not what happened.
Oh, by the way, everybody, look at the new hair. I mean, you said you got it
It's a bit
cut,
much.
but it's still fro. You still got a nice little fro going on.
It's
Yep.
because I did not wash it this morning like I usually do.
Oh, okay.
I skipped that. I skipped my shower this morning. I take one in the morning, one at night. This day I just take one at night. So yeah, it's a bit uncontrolled.
Yeah, well, it's your thing. Your fluffy hair, your poodle-esque hair.
Yeah.
It was Three
Soccer, right?
Musketeers. Now it's yeah. You're a soccer guy. Yeah. You stick with it. Yeah, I don't know. See, this has been a great conversation for Brody because I guarantee you that man has so many like embarrassing high school stories.
Yeah.
I guarantee. Oh, man, we're gonna have to revisit. I might give him 15 minutes at the start of the next one just to tell his stories because I bet you it would be fantastic. But I don't know. I kind of started this podcast and I didn't know where I was going to go, so I'm glad we kind of had something going with it.
No, that's a good little
I kind of, yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to just have a chill. We talked about this in the last podcast that I probably won't post. To be fair, I think I still agree with a lot of stuff I said. I just don't like the way in which I said it. I think I came across angry. It's not necessarily what I said, but like the way I was saying it made it seem. Sure. So that's probably why I won't post it. But let's talk about, instead of women, let's talk about these type of guys, huh? Huh? You like that? Wait, I got another one. Let's see if it's where it's at. Oh, right here. Here's another one. So what do we think about these TikTok guys who this is like? I wonder if women actually find the dudes who just go in the camera for like 30 seconds, if they actually find that attractive, or if that's just guys thinking I'm being hot right now. I'm getting all the women. Like I'm curious what.
I have no clue. I have no idea. I look at it's the most nonsensical thing ever, right? Like it's so like hilariously like dumb looking.
Yeah.
To me.
I agree. No, I agree. I've even seen
But I
the
think
problem
the
is,
same thing of when women do the duck face.
Oh
in
yeah, no, I agree.
pictures. I think that looks really dumb, and yet they continue to do it, right? Like
the extreme, not even the like slightly pursed, like, but like the full on.
If you know your picture's getting taken and you puff your lips out a little bit, right? Like you get some air behind it, or I'm cool. No worries, right? That doesn't look dumb, but the ridiculous like duck
full
face
on,
does
yeah.
look- yeah.
No,
I
I was gonna say the thing that bothers me a little bit is I now see like middle school kids doing it.
yeah, they're copy.
And it's even dumber, man. It's these like little kids with like ridiculous hair. I remember it was a married couple and they made fun of them. One of them put a set of bananas over their head because that's what the kids' hairs look like, and they're just like, it's like, you're 13. Why are you trying to act like you're like some, I don't know, millionaire gangster rapper or some shit, just something like, yeah, girl, it's like, dude, You thought they had cooties 2 weeks ago, man. Like, don't come on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
stop. I
know.
guess I'm the only one that thought it was stupid. Who knows?
It's hierarchy bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? That's all it is. Who's at the top of the hierarchy? Well, to middle schoolers, to 13-year-olds, the person with the most women. Who has the most women? The athletes and the rap stars.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do I want to be when I grow up?
No, you're right.
There's two paths. So that's what I'm going to pretend to be now, you know?
Makes sense.
It's not super deep, but that's my take at least.
No, I agree. I am curious. Okay, so this is actually something I was going to talk about because I just, we talked about this a little bit before, but like, do you think tipping culture has gone too far? And when I say that, I want to defend like bartenders or like waiters at super high end restaurants where they have to like do a whole show basically. You know, like it's and you go there, it's basically like, I'm talking a high end restaurant where you're expecting to like, you know, you're paying for the experience basically. But when we start talking about like Applebee's or even sometimes like self-help, like McDonald's or something, you know, I say Barbaritos, but it's Chipotle, because Barbaritos is the exact same thing. It's just the more southeastern United States place. But like they have tip jar, and it's like, at what point do we like, you know, no, you don't deserve it. Well, I know the one that really bugs me. It's the people who take your like they take the phone calls, and they send in the order to the kitchen, and then the kitchen fixes all the food, puts it in the box, and then they put it in a bag, tie the bag, and hand it to you, and they expect a tip. And it's like, you spent maybe 45 seconds to a minute total work on my order, and it wasn't even hard physical. It was like the most simple, basic, and then they're looking for like a 10, 15, 20% tip, and it's like, there is no way you are justified in thinking that you deserve. I mean, I understand that you don't get paid much, but also you're not doing much, if we're being perfectly honest. And if you are, like, let's say you're cleaning tables and well, that's not on me. I'm not using the tables. I'm not, you know, that's like, that's on the restaurant owner. I do think that's a part of the problem. Is like a lot of restaurants have put the economic
supply the tip to
onto the customer instead of and so then people who want tips are angry at the customers instead of angry at the owner, and they're like, if you can't tip 30%, don't show up. And that always bugs me, because I'm like,
you can't afford it if you can't.
And I'm like, that's stupid, because then no one comes to your restaurant. The restaurant closes and you get $0. $0 is less than whatever you're making.
It's a distinctly entitled statement to say that you deserve it just for doing the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's a lot here, right? Because like, do they make enough to support themselves without tips? Unfortunately, probably no in most cases, right? And that's, you know, that does tug on your heartstrings. You can't help but like feel like you have some obligation then to tip if you can end the suffering. But of course, others have imposed that suffering. So it's like, you know, where does the responsibility lie?
Is it my responsibility? And also, it's like, I feel like most of those jobs, we really got to stop pushing that as anything more than like high school and college kids getting some extra funds.
I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, unless you like go into those really high end stuff where you like sort of form special skills as well, like the table side cooking, right? Like where they have the waiters bring out the food and
they do a little
table side. I think that is like
But those people, like some of those people, waiters in New York make like $100K a year in tips.
Yeah.
And so it's like they get paid for doing and I agree, that's fine. They deserve it. But if we're talking like Applebee's, where you basically take an order and then bring people drinks and food, like
it's so tricky for me, because like my mom we go to Disney Springs every once in a while because we live near Disney, right? And it's their little like downtown park area, and we go to a place called Wine Bar George. My mom loves Wine Bar George, and they'll make like an old fashioned. They'll make just some pretty good stuff. But like, if I go to Applebee's and I order an old fashioned, I'm gonna get an old fashioned, right? Now the ingredients are of course different, but they're just following the recipe and they're doing the things. It's not like before they're like, you know, flipping the bottles around and doing the fancy.
The
performance is the same, and yet
Well, I have a
old-fashioned
question.
Wine Bar George is like 30, and an old-fashioned at Applebee's is like 18 or something like
Yeah.
that. So the tips are different. They did the same fucking thing, right? Like, so
I have a
I,
question. Do waiters make the drinks at Applebee's, or do they have a?
no,
So that's
they
what
go to
they
the
just.
bar.
So that's
the
why I'm.
bar company.
So the people who even made the drinks aren't even the ones getting the tip. That's why I'm saying, like,
Yeah, the
maybe
waiters
there's.
have to like tip out the other functions, but like
Yeah.
I don't know the percentages. I don't know how it works.
Maybe
really.
there should be a option that you can go and pick up your own food and pick up your own and fill up your own drinks, like you do it.
Have one of those machines.
Yeah.
The like.
Yeah, like Panera Bread. You get a buzz. You go, you pick up your food, and you fill up your drink. Right? Like it's, and be like, I don't want a waiter because I don't want to tip, and then you wouldn't feel obligated. But if someone wants the experience of being pampered and waited on, then they would be obligated to tip. Right? So then you could still go to the restaurant if you had enough money for the food, or you just don't want to waste money on something that you're like, I'm more than happy to take the 4 minutes out of my experience to go pick up my food, and carry it to my table. I am more than happy to do that as opposed to pay someone $15-$20 to do it.
No, 100% right. It's actually, I had an interesting conversation with my gym buddy the other day, because his son. So my gym buddy was a CFO for some manufacturing factory in California, right? He said that what he did in his early days was he told his boss, "All right, I want to set up a new account for you with the surplus revenue that we get, and my goal is to get $1 million in there for you, right?" And the boss was like, "Cool, great, get to it." And well, come 6-7 months later, we're halfway there. Come a year and a half. Hey, boss, do you see? It's there, right? Done. And he said, "Great, appreciate that. Make it 2, right?" And just kept going, kept going. And my buddy has explained this to his son, that they agreed upon a certain payment for my buddy to perform that function. And his son goes, "Well, but you did all of this. You got all this extra revenue for him. Shouldn't he have given you some of it when you left the company?" And my buddy goes, "No, he shouldn't have. We agreed upon a set amount of money that I was going to get." And his son is having a really hard time understanding that. And I think this is the larger effect of tipping culture, because it is just commonplace that if you do a great job, you get extra, right? You get more. And I don't know that it's a good system.
I do think it's like if you're doing it, especially in his situation where you're setting it up yourself, you should set up in your contract that you get a percentage. That's that's what.
And if he had done that, then of course that would have been the case. But he said, "No, my boss paid me very well, and I was very happy with the money, and I felt like to feel like I was doing a good job, I needed to do something like that for my boss."
Yeah.
So cool, all works out, right? It is mutually beneficial to everyone. Everyone feels good about it. You don't need more.
Yeah. No, I mean, if that's your job, that's what you signed up. That's the contract you signed.
Exactly.
I kind of agree with that. I think you do want there to be some sort of, because I do think like being rewarded for extraordinary work is good, and it does motivate people to work harder as opposed to just do what they have to do to maintain the job, like to not get fired, and they would still get paid the same. So, but if he was hired to do that thing, then it's like, no, that's why you get paid what you are getting paid, is to do this thing. So I don't know. It's tough because I do know there is like some research on like using the carrot instead of the stick, right? To motivate people.
Needs to be stick to.
Yeah, there needs to be stick to, and there just needs to be like, I do feel like that is something that's really been lost. Is like the idea that you are judged based on your character and like you're a man of your word. My word is my bond. Like there's a moral obligation inside of me that if I say I'm going to do something or I say something and I make a promise, I stick by that promise. And that's a quality good thing, not just,
There's been a lot of push for no one can judge me, don't judge, right? You can't judge me this, right? The same friend of mine, we joke because we go to Planet Fitness and on the wall all over, judgment-free zone, no judgment. And we're like, not when we're here.
Yeah.
When we're here, there is judgment. I think everyone should judge everyone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that perhaps it would be nice if you weren't a dick about it, right? Like you don't have to only judge the harshest elements of people. Um,
I have a
you can
question. Do you
absolutely
mean
also
judge or do
factor
you
in
mean
the good stuff.
assess? Because I do
What's
think
the
there's a
difference?
little bit different. Yeah, I was like, I think a lot of times, especially when we're talking biblically, but like the word judgment, because a lot of people are like, oh, judge not, and it's like, that's actually referring to like almost like executing a sentence. Like you are
Yeah,
not just
no,
saying
not
this is a
that.
result of your actions. You shouldn't do it. It's like, and I will
Well,
engage the punishment on you.
if my belief about a person is a sentence, right? Like I sentence you
Yeah,
to
I
be
guess
thought
that. Yeah,
lesser of by me or higher of by me. Like,
yeah,
you can judge people highly, right?
yeah,
If that is so, then I do mean judgment. But if that is not so, then I mean, I guess,
yeah.
assess.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think the only thing you'd ever worry about is like we as humans don't know it. Like I see a lot of people post those.
Factor that in.
Yeah,
Factor that into
maybe
your
maybe
judgment
this
or
is a
your
workout that
assessment.
is a real thing that I just don't know about, and it actually because I know there are some good workouts, but they look goofy as hell, right? Like they just look silly,
Yeah,
but they
yeah,
work really well.
yeah.
And there's like high end professional weightlifters who do them, and if somebody sees a weightlifter
Yeah.
doing it, they do it, and then other people are like, what is this guy doing? They take a picture of it. I do think I don't think people should video it and put it on the internet. I kind of agree with Joey Swole that like, because especially gyms are places where you try to go to better yourself, and if you feel like you can't, because it's also a learning process. It's almost like if you made fun of your students while they were, if they didn't know something while you were teaching them.
Right.
That would be. It's like that's wrong. Like, of course they
A
don't.
lot of teachers do all the
Yeah.
time, right?
And I
Like,
agree.
all
That's
the time.
yeah.
Oh, kids these days, they can't read an analog clock. They need a digital clock. And it's like the teachers make fun of them. It's like, well, okay, have you ever taught them how to read an analog
Yeah.
clock?
Then that
No.
should be your job.
What
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Why are you going to make fun of them for not knowing, right? Now, if you've tried to teach them and they're just willfully ignorant, then
Yeah.
make fun of them.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
agree.
But
No, I agree with that. It's an interesting because I do like Joey Swole a lot. I think he does a good job because he also calls out like the whole thing where women set up their cameras intentionally like in front to try to catch a guy who's
yeah,
like walking and half the time a guy is like walking by and he didn't even look and they're like this creep and they put it all over the internet and tens of thousands of people look and go, oh yeah, he's a creep, and it's like he didn't even look. Like dude was just trying to get his workout in. So I do think like that needs to be called out a little bit. So it's just a weird. I think the definitions that we use there needs to be some tiers, like some clarification. You know what I'm saying? Like here, this level of judgment, this level of judgment, they all need different words.
I think that like perhaps my view is that if you make an improper judgment and then you say something about it, others correct you, right? Like
Then they
let's say I
judge
make
you.
fun
They
of
judge your judgment.
yeah, but let's say but then you have to fix your judgment,
Yeah.
right, to somebody. Like if I look at this person who is totally out of shape, going there to better themselves, and I legitimately think less of them for it, my judgment is so off, right?
Yeah.
If I say that to anybody else on earth, they're gonna be like, dude, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's awesome for them.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to fix my judgment, So I guess that's why I focus so much on yes, judge others, yes, be open about your thoughts. Because we hone each other, we fix each other.
Yeah, that's how you find out that your
sort it
judgment
out.
was wrong is by putting out there and
Exactly.
getting corrected. Yeah.
Exactly.
I do wonder how much of that is because I mean, man, we do have like almost like a culture of never being wrong. Like people hate to ever be wrong, and you get punished for being like. Remember when? I mean, there was. It's not as bad now, but people used to go back like 10 years and get people on something they posted on Facebook or they tweeted like 10 years ago, and they're like, "Well, yeah, that was 10 years ago. I don't have this," and they're like, "You must suffer now. We're gonna call your place of business and tell them."
100%.
It's like that was weird, and then I think that really started setting up the mentality of like I just can't ever be wrong. I gotta hold the fort.
I think. Excuse me. I think often. I think I could probably make some kind of run for political office in the small community that I'm within if I really wanted to. But I often think, well, if they look back at the old Facebook stuff I put when I was in like high school and didn't know shit, right? Like it's over for me,
Right.
And it's like, of course, I don't believe any of that stuff now, right? Like the foolish, childish notions that were on there. But is it going to be enough for people for me to say, well, I've grown as a person. I'm not. That person who wrote that is not running for office. I am.
I think you would get a little bit more freedom because you were a minor, so you could be like, I was a child then, and I'm an adult now. And so I think that people are
I
more
hope so.
I think people are more willing
to
to, forgive and give a little more leniency for being immature. They understand that. Whereas I think
I hope you're right.
if you were, which I still think that still needs, because I think there's a lot of people who are 25 are just still inexperienced and dumb and don't know what's going on. And so it's like, you still should get, like, we should be growing. If we have the exact same thoughts and feelings that we had 10 years ago,
Yeah.
Are you really growing as a person?
Yes. Agreed, you're not, right? But I think that you have blind spots that you might not know about, so that's why it's like important to be honest and open about your assessments of everything, and let others correct you. Like being open to being wrong is kind of like really, really, really healthy. Yeah.
No, I agree. Evil, are you still there? Do you have an opinion?
Nope.
All right, good. Well, good segue over to the next thing I was going to talk about.
Yeah, shoot, man.
So here's someone posted about. Here, I'll just read the original post and then the corrective post. We're talking about correcting people, right? Someone posted.
My favorite hobby.
This, yes. Sorry, people don't know. That was a really good joke. Someone posted a picture of a German princess, and they wrote, "This is Princess Sophia Charlotte, born in 1744. She was the second black queen of England, married to King George III. She reigned during blah, 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 blah." Then someone corrected it and said, "No, Queen Charlotte was German. The theory comes, this theory that she was the first or the second black queen comes from a genealogist in 1997 who said that she had." Okay, so I'm quoting this is not me. Negroid physiognomy. You said it better. I cannot say. I read it and it kills me. Physiognomy. Anyway,
Physiognomy.
Yeah, basically the features. She had physical features that looked somewhat blackish. And then he set out to prove it. Ultimately, they found that she was potentially less than 2% Portuguese. That was the amount of not German and British that she was 0.2% Portuguese. They actually did genetic tests and found out that's what's. So I have a big issue with people putting out, because I see this a lot of fake history. And then I'm also going to tie this. I kind of wish Brody was here for this. Getting into this is kind of how a lot of conspiracy theories get started. Is some goofball professor or expert or PhD or whatever has to do some sort of research to make themselves feel like they stand out or they're special and they're going to write a paper, and they say some dumb shit, and then somebody an expert said blah 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 blah, and it's like, no, they didn't. Not really. Like that was kind of a random screwball out there. Just, and I don't like falling into the fallacy of an appeal to authority. So I don't think like just because someone's an expert you believe them, right?
Sure.
Or just because it's the common. That's a different fallacy that just because it's commonly believed. I'm sure you may know what that actual fallacy is called, but there's one where it's like just because it's a popular belief it must be true.
Appeal to the majority.
Thank you. Appeal to authority, appeal to majority. But I don't know. Like, so Brody was talking about previously about how he was like, while he was going on, I can't remember if this was during a podcast or if it was after, but he was going on about how, like, he said, whoever they, I wanted to ask him who they was. This is actually why I wish he was here. But they have found that the amount of Jews killed during the Holocaust wasn't even remotely close, and they've lowered the number. And so I did research.
He put this on Facebook, I think is what you said.
Maybe.
This was
That may be what it was. So I don't feel bad if he put it publicly. Well, I don't feel bad either way. He would have said it. He would have said it here.
Sure
okay.
You brought this up it was a public comment that he made that you responded to.
Okay, good. But I did research on it. I did actual research, and I could not find a single moderately valid, historically researched organization or historian that has lowered the number from 6 million. In fact, it's 6 million Jews and 5 million non-Jews. So we're talking blacks, gays, political opponents, gypsies, you know, anything not Aryan.
Yeah.
That they
It
killed.
started with the communists. The communists were the first ones to do bye-bye communists.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mostly because they were the political like opponents to the socialists, who were the Nazis were the socialists, right? And so they had to get rid because the communists wanted to do similar to socialists, but they wanted to take way more. You know, they wanted to do something else. And anyway, you had different parties, and they both. Crazy enough, they were both super violent. Like, if you actually look at the history of how the Nazis got in power, they were fighting each other, killing each other in the streets, doing bank robberies and stuff to fund their movements. It was crazy. It's wild. I don't know. I was like, who I would want to know who they are. You know, like, what source told you this? And I think a lot of conspiracy theories get started, because I do think there are some conspiracy theories that pan out. You know, there's a lot, especially modern ones like the NIA. I think it was the NIA. Is that the National Intelligence?
NSA?
NSA, that's it. NSA, thank you. NSA tapping our phones and like recording almost all of our conversation and text so they could use. That turned out to be real. But when it first got announced, everybody's like, "You're crazy. They would never do that." Not, you know, and it's like, "Oh, no, that was real."
I think if you don't have a healthy mistrust for government since like the Pentagon Papers came out, I think that you're crazy, right?
I agree.
I think that there is pretty good evidence to be suspicious of the national government, as is we've been given evidence that they simply have gone behind our backs and lied to us several times.
Multiple times, yeah.
I suppose to me, it's like, okay, this is no longer a conspiracy theory, but I suppose it was at the start, maybe.
Yeah, for a few years,
sure.
Almost all
fair
things
enough.
are. Yeah,
I'll grant that, but
so,
I don't know. I do wonder, like, why do people believe some of these that are so outlandish, right? Like, because they do, right? What is it about you, what your experiences in your life that has led you to believe these things? And I'm very curious, and I don't know what the answer is. My supposed answer, which is a bit harsh and probably not a good judgment, is that they desire to feel smarter than others in some aspect, right? They want to be on the inside of a group, right? Like I know something you don't, or you know, something like that.
I think,
maybe some sort of inferiority thing.
I think that's part of it. I also think everybody has struggles, right? The reality is everybody is struggling to get through life. Yeah. And they always want to think that a lot of the reasons they're not what they imagine themselves to be, or where they, you know, so much of what we think American life was developed by Hollywood. And so if you're not, you know, multiplex or 2-story big house, big yard, throw the ball with your child, dog running down the street, 2 cars, you know, that whole shtick, we think, oh, there must be something that's holding me down. It's not, you know, I'm struggling.
But I suppose not every conspiracy theory is one that is related to holding you down. I suppose, like the Bush did 9/11 stuff and some other things. I don't understand how that would hold you down.
Well, it's more of like, the government. It shows that they are willing to. It's kind of like a lead into the government is holding me down.
The gateway.
Yes, it's like,
theory.
Look, what the government. If the government's willing to do that, what else do you think? You know, with our money, which is crazy because a lot of the conspiracy people then denied all the Doge findings. It was like, oh yeah, they're just wasting. They're writing a check saying this is to help, just for the sake, orphans and children and mothers, and it's going to some senator's nonprofit that then went and paid for their house and their wedding, you know, and this is clearly getting wasted, and it's not going to anybody it's not helping anybody, and they somehow are like, oh, this is horrible. They're trying to. It's like, no, what they're saying is. The money's not going. They're not trying to take money from these people. They're trying to say that the money's not going to them, and so he shouldn't pay money to whoever's in the administrative side of things. So I don't know. It's because I agree. I think having a healthy distrust of the government is a foundational principle of American society, American government. How we're supposed to run ourselves. which means you
And
don't
it
ever
was,
trust
it was
other people.
baked in from the outset, right? Like
Mhm.
when we were setting up the government, we could have given them more power than we know. We were like, we want to give them as little power as possible
Yep.
to do the job that we need them to do, and not an ounce more, intentionally, right?
Yeah.
It's literally baked into the country's founding and like everything since that we do not trust them,
Yeah.
right?
Which I guess it's just man wants to believe that there are these powerful figures that will look out for them, because I do like we see people go back to where they want to believe their side, their politicians are going to magically make things better for them, right? Like both sides, they want to believe that my side, there's somebody who's going to act like a daddy and take care of me, and all I have to do is show up and for however long it takes to cast a vote once every 4 years, and that'll magically fix my life. So I do, because we've talked about this. Like, I wonder how much people really do actually want to be ruled. Like in reality, maybe they don't want to be ruled, but they want to at least have the consequences of their actions nerfed by someone else. Like they I don't know, because they still want to do whatever they want to do. They just somehow magically want that to not have the consequences it would have. They want to make bad financial decisions and then have someone else wipe them somehow. And it's like, I don't know, because it is interesting. If somehow we could find a system that would have a philosopher king that we could replace over and over again with a perfect philosopher king over and over again, and it couldn't be manipulated and immediately destroyed by one person taking over and being a horrible self-centered person, that would be the best scenario. But we can't. So it's like, how much do people just kind of default into that mentality?
Yeah, we need to find the discover immortality, and then once we're there,
we find the person.
Yes, then we focus on scouring the earth for the wisest person.
Man, but I don't know.
I think is with us right now, but refuses to say anything.
Maybe the wisest person is just like, this is. I don't see. That's the thing. Like, if
I meant evil.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, that's true. Our sage is silent. We have not reached the mountaintop yet. We must bring him an offering of brisket and ribs.
Yes.
Lay it before his feet.
I will accept.
Oh, really? Okay. Well then, give us your wisdom then, since we've brought you brisket.
Oh no,
Why
I
do
will just
people believe
accept the
conspiracy theories?
Oh, you're not going to tell us anything. You're just going to accept the food. Gotcha. Are there any conspiracy?
Deity is this?
Are there any conspiracy theories you're somewhat interested in, Evil?
Oh, I haven't. I try not to give thought to this kind of crap. Just I lose brain cells whenever I think about conspiracy theories and aliens and landing on the moon and
Well, the question is there anything we can even do, right? Like, that you have a point. It's like, why do I even worry about it? Because, okay, I know that the president is a lizard person who bangs babies and drinks goat's blood on the weekends.
Yep.
What are you going to do about it? Like
and
what?
Life continues.
Yes.
We press ever onward.
Like, I'll vote. I'll make a Twitter post. It's like, okay, what does that actually do? So I guess there is a bit of a, like, what's even the point? Like, why stress yourself out? Why worry about something that in reality you're not going to, you go to work and you go home, you take care of your family, and you go to sleep. Where, are you willing to, because I mean, if you think about the people who, let's say, started the American Revolution, most of them were willing to die, and many of them did, right? Like, are you willing to sacrifice yourself and your family and everything to right the wrongs that you have now proclaimed that are true or whatever? Like, I don't know. It is an interesting. I wonder what the thought process is there. I would love. We're gonna have to do another one with Brody where we ask. I would, because he is our resident conspiracy theory.
We need to delve
supporter.
into his soul
Yes.
to figure out what it is that draws him to the conspiracy theories.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to know like what he thinks and how his brain works and why and all that good stuff. Because I think that is important to let them speak for themselves, right? Like, because we can't really speak on their behalf, and it'd just be guesswork.
It is, yeah, it is just guesswork.
So yeah, I don't know. Well, we got 45 minutes. All right, we solved the world's problems. We did it, guys. You know, there's food for everybody, right? Like, no starvation anymore. Which I mean, so okay. Have you ever heard the one where people are like, "Oh, the United States produces enough food to feed the world, and so there should be no starvation."
I have no idea, but I know that a lot of the farmers burn food intentionally, which I think is stupid.
Yeah.
But, that's all I know about any
I
of it.
don't know how I feel about it, because I know the reason they burn food is to try to price manage.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but we also have to think about how much does it cost?
Price management fucks shit up.
Yeah, and how much cost would it take to fly food to? I mean, think about it. You'd have to have huge planes, pilots, gas for these huge planes, constantly flying over the ocean, constantly flying. I mean, it's like, it's not as simple as there is food, come get the food. There's a lot of cost that would also go into putting that food on other people's plates. And so I do wonder, is it actually as possible as people think?
The best option for many of those charities to like use is like just instead of burning the food, no, we'll take it and we'll send it somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, oh boy, that would get me going on a whole nother, like, listen, like right now, the church, various Roman Catholic, Protestant, all of it, is the highest.
I am the Antichrist.
Yes, well, well, I was gonna say they are the number one giver of charity, right? Like they actually do the most charitable actions. They give the most. They actually put the most money actually into charitable. But in the same sense, and especially in America, we get these mega churches where they do charity, and that's good. But they also, right? They have 3 private jets for the pastor, so he doesn't have to fly even fly first class. He has to have his own jet, and it's like we've kind of screwed things up a little bit. Like, we should be capable of so much more charitable giving than we do. And I mean, that's always going to be the problem, right? You're just I don't think there's a way to completely fix human greed. I mean, I think that's kind of the idea behind America's economic system. It's like we just accepted, look, people have tried to solve human greed and put in systems that basically would work if no one was greedy and everybody had the most moral, most loving, most kind, empathetic reaction to every decision. And that has been tried over the course of human history. That's nothing new. And we have found it to always result in misery because you can't reach utopia. Someone always screws it up. There's always just some element. It requires such a level of perfection and complete,
we aren't capable of it.
Yes.
Long term.
So
we're not.
Yeah. Humans can't do it. Like, I will always get frustrated with people who are like, I think humans are inherently good. And I'm like, boy, that is not what history.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. Have you seen human history ever? It's like, I think humans have the capacity for good, right? Like, we all are born with the capacity, but we are not just inherently willing to be good. I mean, they've done studies of this too, where like they'll let kids kind of just do their own thing and grow up, and they will start to lie. They'll figure out they can get what they want through lying.
Yeah.
Even if adults don't show them, they will still figure those things out. They'll still figure out ways to get the inherent need to have more, or to get what you want, to have emotional satisfaction, to get your endorphins. That just runs. That's a part of human nature. That's part of everybody, every race, every creed, every culture's DNA. And the best we can do is try to offset that and maybe almost use it a little bit to like figure out a way to use that to motivate them to do good things. It's almost like maybe we can get both of you to get something good out of this. But I don't. It's just impossible to fix humanity, I think, to a degree.
I would agree. I can't stand the modern mega church bullshit, the super elite pastor nonsense, right? Like, I can't think of anyone that's doing like more to keep people away,
Mhm.
you know, more to push people. I want to show you a video. Can I show you a
Oh,
video?
absolutely.
It's great. It's like it's 2 minutes long. We won't even watch all, but it's fantastic.
Please.
I want to show you this. This one.
Let me pull it up on
All right, is this working? Check this out. So this guy is going to resurrect a man.
Oh yes, please.
This is a pastor here. He's gonna resurrect a man. Here we go.
Okay. I mean, I can already.
Look at his mouth.
He's
in
already
the
moving.
coffin.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can already see his mouth.
Look at his mouth open. What is that?
Sorry. It's the accent. It always makes you
I
think.
know.
Of
It's Dr. Pastor.
Dr.
Yeah.
Pastor.
See this bullshit, man.
Yeah, that's yes. I agree. Faking
Bullshit,
something
man.
is not yes. His mouth is moving, man. Like, find a better actor.
No kidding, dude. He's the worst actor you could possibly have found for this. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, oh.
Oh. I mean, the Bible says to lay hands. He's like, oh, there you go. He finally touched something. I was like, you actually. Oh, there it is. Oh my gosh. Oh. Sorry, the face he made was like, oh.
Oh my God, man.
What's interesting is we can see him inside the coffin, but I bet you most of the people there, except for the the leaders that they had right there,
Yeah.
couldn't even. They just see a guy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden moving out of the coffin. Oh.
So your problem with streamers, right? And
Yeah.
the inauthenticity,
yes.
the complete fakeness of it. I mean, I hate this. I hate this. So incredibly much. And I cannot fathom being willing to put on a show like that to make money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, I can. You know why I can fathom it? Because I've got a story about a person who called my father yesterday and pretended to be from a debt relief company. And he was going to help my dad put money into a trust fund to pay off all these credit card companies at, significantly less. And he had this whole spiel about it. And I actually sent a lot of, so he actually got my dad to give him, before I got up there and I heard my dad giving him the bank routing number and bank checking account. And I was like, oh no, that's when I walked in and I was like, hold on. And then he was trying to get my dad to push through to sign a paper giving them like power of attorney and to give them access to be able to pull out the money whenever they needed. And I was like, well, no, not until you send us the documents. We're not going to sign it. And then that's when it really started. Like, I was already red flags a few, but that one really, it was like, he kept pushing. He was like, no, well, sign the documents. And then once you sign, we will send you the, I was like, no, that's not how this works. You send it to us. We look over it. We decide if we like it or not. Then we will. And then he said something that was really creepy. And he said, you must trust me. I am your financial advisor. You must trust me. And that's when I was like, we're not doing that. Like, I will not let you, Father, I am not going to let you do this. This is setting off way too many red flags. And so I happen to have a financial advisor friend that's local that I could talk to. And so I sent him basically what the guy said. And he's like, yeah, this is not up to par. And then I sent him the documents. And he's like, you really got, like, there were some places where the name on the documents was not matching all across the board, and it was slightly off, not off tremendously, but it was slightly off. And you just gotta question that. Like he was like, I would not give them any more. Don't give them any information if you can't. Just back out. But it's like people will take advantage and they look. What they do is they research and they find older people over the age of 70, because people over the age of 70 aren't as tech savvy. They're more trusting because they grew up in a time where people were a little more honest, especially if you get them from smaller areas. Like my dad, when he grew up in Johnson City was not. I mean, we're not huge now, but it was especially small then. It was very Mayberry, right? Like it was everybody. You go to the soda jerk and the girls wear the poodle skirts and it's football Fridays and the whole shtick. And so if somebody said, I'm gonna do a deal for you, they were gonna do a deal for you. And it's like a lot of these old people they can't process that. There's people out there who are just, they don't care at all. They zero morals, and it doesn't matter if you're struggling to make ends meet. Like that's the thing. They're finding people who are in debt, who are struggling to make ends meet, and they're picking on them. That is the lowest of the that is just scummy. And so it's like, it doesn't shock me that other people would. I mean, I bet you that guy who's pretending to be a pastor doesn't believe in God at all, right? Because would you
Right.
fake? Would you use
If
God's
God
name?
was real and you were doing that,
and you were doing that, you're
gonna be in trouble, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no way you could actually believe in a God and be doing that stuff. And so it's like, I don't know. People will. There's a level of immorality and selfishness that exists in humanity that I guess my generation and below have just grown up to be like, oh yeah, that's, it's too creepy. And I guess there wasn't the internet back in the day, right? So people couldn't just couldn't find all this data on who's vulnerable. People from India didn't have access to a 73-year-old in East Tennessee. It was like,
it's easier to foster the evil within now. There's more opportunities.
And we grew up at least talking to people on the internet, seeing dumb stuff people would say in chat rooms, knowing that there's crazy people out there and evil people out there, and we see videos.
RuneScape, old school RuneScape was a fantastic lesson in people scamming you, right? Oh, here, I'll trim this this rune armor, I'll trim this for you, and you drop it, and then they take it and like, fucking see you, nerd.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Immediate lesson in a context where it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
But
I agree. I think we grew up in a place where we got to experience all the negative elements of humanity on a broader scale, and so we are much more skeptical and more willing to question. If somebody comes at you and promises something, you gotta really dig in multiple times. And I mean, we talked about this with my Chinese girlfriend, right? Or I call it Chinese. I use that as a joke. It was a Chinese woman who could communicate, or a Singaporean woman who communicated with me, and we were talking, and we were testing to make sure that she wasn't trying to just like gank my money, basically. I don't think she was. I do think she was looking for someone who had money and was willing to do something right then, and that ain't me. And so that didn't. But that was our first. Our first guess, our first instinctual move was like, she's just another online woman who's either trying to get me to visit her OnlyFans or to give her my financial information so she can take it.
I've never used dating apps, but from what I've heard about them, like 90% of the responses that some guys get is, "Hey, not interested, but if you want to see me naked, here's my OnlyFans. Give me money." Right? Like I have heard that is pretty common on dating apps.
I'm gonna pay, but I want you make your point. But after you make your point, Evil, are you comfortable telling us any of your dating app stories? Because he is the man with all the dating app stories.
Well, I mean, it's. I imagine for some guys it's 90% of them, but it is a surprising amount, especially
like more
if
or
you
less than you would have expected.
Okay, so it's not 90%, but I mean it could, for some guys, be 45%.
Yeah.
Like, if I've and it really depends on the platform that you use. Um,
Really?
like a lot.
So do you use multiples? Like which one's the worst is what I would want to know.
I imagine the worst is probably like Tinder.
Yeah, that makes sense. That checks what I was thinking, but
Yeah.
who knows,
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's got a reputation for,
Yeah.
catering to this crowd. So yeah, of course, girls are going to use that for their OF Outlook projects and stuff like that. And people will set their location for hundreds of miles away and just fucking swipe on everything that they can and advertise as much as possible because that's, that it is an effective way for them, I guess, to
Yeah, you get horn
generate
dogs.
views.
Yeah. I mean, Instagram does it all the time, right? Like I post a picture of a cigar, and half the likes I get on a picture are clearly, women who are trying to push you onto their OnlyFans, or they'll send you a message. They'll send you a DM and like, "Hey, I really liked your picture. Would you like to check out mine?" It's like, and then it's an OnlyFans link or something. You're like,
Yeah.
No, thank you. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's
What's really fun is so I've done a couple of the international ones as well, and you can definitely tell that there's a problem whenever the platform that they use then isn't, it's not like texting or whatever. They'll use WhatsApp or Telegram, and you can actually see where these places are registering their numbers from. And the biggest one that I've seen, because I had a free sub to a place, was Ghana, and apparently like there were like 60 people who messaged me on this thing, and they were all from Ghana.
Oh.
How much do you think this is services that kind of like how you have like VPNs? Because you can have like VPNs for phone numbers too, right? Where it doesn't actually use your, like you go through another phone number to. Do you think a lot of that could be that as well?
I don't think that they either can or do. I don't think they care about it because, most people aren't going to sit there. They're going to see, oh, hey, this is a hot girl. I want her.
Right. They just don't think. Were we talking about this? Like, there's a woman who gave all her money to a fake AI Brad Pitt, and a guy who gave all his money to a fake Jennifer Aniston AI, because they were like, the AI was sending them videos saying they loved them and stuff, and they were so, I guess, lonely that they believed these AI, like, out of nowhere, a world famous actor or actress was like, I need money for my medical bills. I love you, please. Like, I guess there is a level of loneliness that people have. Some people, and it works. Is it just a numbers game with these people where they just keep going till they find somebody who's so desperate that they won't? Oh, let me open it up.
These are the Brad Pitt pictures. Do you see these? Like, is this
Wow.
not fun? Look at this one in the middle on the bottom. Like, that is
the faces in you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what is like? Come on, man. Come on, man.
And I love that they. No, look at the top right. Like, they had somebody taking pictures during the surgery. Like, there's someone in there just taking pictures. Like, hold on, my publicist needs to be in the surgery room taking pictures while you do my surgery. No, that's believable. Yeah, I'm sure. That is very interesting. But yeah, it was the same thing with Jennifer Aniston. It was like, I mean, they were AI, but it was not good, And you're like,
yeah,
I don't know. I guess there's a level of loneliness in our society that
there is. Yeah.
just drive people to act without thinking.
So some of my kids the alumni, they make fun of me because they think I am subscribed to the male loneliness epidemic thing. And it's like, well, just because I showed you one video that addressed it as a problem doesn't mean that, like, I realize women are lonely too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think we just, all of us have like
sides.
a loneliness problem,
Yeah.
right? Like, wholeheartandly.
But I also think
I think a lot of us are lonely.
I also think it's partially self-driven loneliness. Like, we have raised our like, what we demand to such a lot of these people who are
It
single.
is for me, for sure. Yeah, for me, 100%.
Oh, well, I was just saying, like you see him on. It's like the one who has the like. Well, I'm willing to work with my husband, and I'll make him a sandwich when he comes home. She's the one that's married, and then her single friend, who's been single for the past 10 years, does it. And she's like, "Girl, you should stand up." It's like,
yeah,
if you're not willing to at least help out a little bit every now and then, you don't have a little bit of like sympathy and willingness to work. Like, I'm not even talking about what you're saying, like where you're like, I have standards. I think the loneliness also matches because it's like there's a disconnect between,
yeah.
what we actually look for in a relationship and what a relationship really is.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's a specificity thing.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
I understand that.
There are women that I've dated that many men would be very happy with. This is fantastic. I could not ask for a better situation. And I want something specific enough that I have, elected the path of loneliness for now.
Yeah.
Because I have not been able to get the specific thing. But I think that I'm probably not the only one. I'm saying that's probably more common.
I agree.
And it's at least a significant chunk of the loneliness epidemic among like everybody. I think it's a significant chunk now.
Yeah. I think it's probably a combination of the two. It's like there's genuinely people who are like, I just know what I will need to be happy, and I'm going to wait until I get it. And then I think there's a lot of people who are unrealistic with their expectations, and that's why they're because they're never going to find what they're looking for doesn't exist in human. Like, there's not a perfect person. Hey, everybody! Here is one of our good
New
friends,
face.
Kins. His name is his actual name is
Top
Adam,
of the world.
but he is part of the podcast now. So, Kins, say welcome and hello to all the people on the podcast.
Once again.
Top of the world. I didn't know you guys were recording stuff.
It's all good. Hey, if you turn on your camera, everybody can see who you are, and they'll learn who Kins is. When we talk about Kins, they'll know who you are.
I gotta say, Kins, this is the most hype thing that's happened on this podcast for a month and a half.
I'm excited. Yeah,
we love that you're here.
Well, no camera anyway because it's broken and I haven't taken the time to replace it.
Oh my god.
Well, that's Kins, everybody.
We gotta run. Kins, what do you think of conspiracy theories?
It's some of them are crazier than others, I suppose, and some of them are, turn out to actually kind of have something going on. And
what's your wild take? Give me your wildest take.
One of the funniest things is there was a guy I worked with at a place once upon a time, and he was all into the conspiracy theories, like chemtrails and stuff in the food and the whole 9 yards. And one of the funniest things that happened then was that at a certain point he met with had a meeting with HR, and this is at a relatively small company. There was like one HR person, right? And had in what he assumed was some kind of confidentiality, said that he was he was wondering about maybe shifting to a different position in the company or looking at something else because he'd been recently dissatisfied. And of course HR, this guy just really turned around and like told his boss and his boss's boss, like, hey, like this dude is like looking at other stuff or is wondering about what have you. And I just thought it was and he was stunned by this apparent betrayal, because he had thought that human resources, he was supposed to be helping the humans that were resources, like the employees. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was great that every conspiracy theory of everyone is out to get you, and the chemtrails and the weird stuff in the grass and skies were bluer when we were kids. But the one conspiracy he didn't see was that, of course, HR doesn't work for you. They work for the people who own the company. Like, right. They are not your private counselor to complain to, and they help you. If anything, they're the opposite of there to help you.
Yeah. Misunderstanding of what the actual office was. That's fun, because it is true that the name is set up to evoke a sense of like security and safety. Like, oh, come to HR. We're here, because they do say that a lot, right? They're like, oh, if you got problems, talk to us. We're here to hear what you have to say as a worker. And we're here to make sure your working experience is good. And it's like, human resources. That sounds like you should be able to trust them. But yeah, I agree with you. That's kind of funny. That's a real. I think there's a lot of stuff that does that though, right?
The other great one he had, and I don't even think he believed this one, but it was when he'd seen other people discuss. This is in around 07, 08, somewhere in there, probably 08. Wherein, because there was like not really, but kind of like the beginning to sort of like there was like some student protests in Iran at the time. Was the Arab Spring? It's one of those Arab Springs, and they had been doing a lot of organizing these student protesters on Twitter.
Okay.
And then it was at the same time was when Michael Jackson died, and there were so many people. I don't know if you recall this. Like for like 2 days, Twitter was down because so many people were tweeting about Michael Jackson that it like knocked out the server. And the conspiracy then was that the people running Iran had assassinated Michael Jackson in order to take Twitter offline with all the gossip, so that the students organizing these protests could no longer use Twitter as a tool for organizing. That was a pretty good one.
That is an impressive one. That's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
Well, he was saying, well, if you think about it, it's probably easier to kill Michael Jackson than to like take out, an entire company's like website that, they got multiple servers and backups and whatever else,
So true.
I mean, it'd be easier to shoot Ag Eye than blow up a Danish
Or
right?
pay his personal doctor, right? You could pay his personal doctor to overdose him, and then you only have to convince one guy to do it, right? You only have to pay them a lot of money and I'm sure the doctor probably could. I can see that actually being a more viable argument. Is like we only have to convince one doctor that they can get away with that, use their medical knowledge to get away with it. We'll pay him. After a while, we'll pay him $10 million or something to do it. And I mean, I don't believe it, but I can see that being a more viable argument than, I mean, I guess I can see that. It's like, well, you could try to hack an entire high security server system, or you can try to convince one guy to, make a bunch of money and just sell his morals out for about $10 million.
The other wild thing I always think of with Michael Jackson is that evidently it seems quite possible that despite being the butt of jokes about, doing bad things to kids for 20 years or so, he might have actually been the only celebrity in show business who actually wasn't into molesting children.
He wasn't on the Diddy list?
No, I mean, you got like the Epstein stuff, and you got the Diddy thing, and you got like R. Kelly doing stuff, and
forgot about
all kinds of other crazy stuff.
That's true. Or maybe Michael Jackson paid to get himself killed so that it wouldn't, because he was getting ready to actually have all his actual child stuff be exposed, and by killing it, like hid all of it and made people more like sympathetic to his plight, and it kind of like hid the actual information, and so the people didn't dig deeper and find the truth. I just started a new conspiracy theory right now.
Yeah,
they're easy to come up with, just there you go, in and out.
Yeah, find a couple of things that are not really related but are very loosely related, and then tie them together and be like, any counter arguments is just the man lying, right? It's any viable evidence and proof, that's just lies. And then your small amount of information that you've loosely tied together, that's the real truth.
Kins, we also talked about embarrassing high school stories. You got any of those for us? I don't know that we've ever delved into your soul and your past, but here we are.
It makes me too sad.
Oh, that is, people don't know, but that is such a Kins answer right there, people. Y'all don't even understand. That was like a perfect Kins answer.
Oh, I was the biggest sort of loser in high school in every dumb extracurricular thing to try to be cool, like cool people, because they do things. Turns out cool people don't do things. I had it all backwards.
It's so true. I had to learn that too. Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's true. All right. Well, that was a good story. Solid work. I appreciate it. Actually, we're at 1 hour and 15 minutes. You think that's good enough? You feel satisfied?
I'm insatiable.
It's true. I wonder if people listening will be insatiable. I feel like this is a good stopping point. Plus, we can hang out and play games with Ken. So, we've given the people enough to think about and talk about. And please come back next week. I gotta remember to tell people to like the video at the beginning because I don't think people make it to this point. If I'm honest, like there's like 5 people that make it to this point. Nobody's liking our videos anymore. Nobody's sharing or commenting. But if you've made it to this point, like and comment. I know you don't care, but just try. I'll love you. I'll try to reply to it. I'll try to make a comment.
I did see on another podcast I try watching YouTube sometimes, and the guys on there, basically never do the like, comment, subscribe. And at the start of one of the videos, the guy said, like, I hate on shows where they always tell you at the start, like, comment, subscribe. He says, but it does help if you like, comment, subscribe. And the next episode, it was like monthly, think about this show. He starts out, he says, like, now I hate saying like, comment, subscribe, and people saying that it helps. I was like, but I tried that last time, and we had like twice as many subscriptions and like comments and likes, like 4 times as many likes as we usually do. I hate that it works.
No, that's why they say you have to do it, because if you don't tell people to do it, they won't do it. But if you do actually tell them to do it, like say, please do this for me, and you do it at the beginning, because I'm stupid and I do it at the end when they're not watching. But if you do it at the beginning, people will do it. You literally have to tell them to do it, and they will. It's a weird human psychological thing, but it's absolutely, like, statistically is shown 100% works if you tell people to do it at the beginning. Please remember to like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, so on and so forth. You'll get way more likes, subscriptions, and people will like have notification. They'll come back and see that your stuff updates on the regular. It's just, that's like a well-known statistical fact that in the content creation that you have to tell people to do that shit, which is sad because they should. But I like the content, right? Like that. It doesn't take any extra effort. It's there on the screen that they're watching while they watch the video or listen to you. It shouldn't take any more effort, but for some reason you do have to like trigger them into that action. Is an interesting
I mean, it is free, but I don't know, 1 click is quite a bit of effort.
Oh, absolutely. I feel that way all the time. I almost didn't do the podcast because I had to put my screen up behind me because it wasn't there, and I was like, I have to put the screen up behind me. But laziness and whatnot. All right, so I'll end it. Hey everybody, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. Thank you, Ken's. No, that Ken's is down here. Thank you, Placebo, and thank you, Evil, for showing up and being around and hanging out and talking and letting people listen to you. And I am now going to shift this over into the next scene with music. Give me a second. Boom, jamming music. Now turn it on.
Watch my flow. Once again.